The first thing you learn about the Calithian Empire is that silence is never accidental. When a species rules 1/3 of the known galaxy for 12,000 cycles, every pause, every glance, every breath inside the throne chamber carries intention. So when the entire Imperial court fell silent the moment Queen Aerith stepped forward, it was not routine. It was history. I was standing in chains when it happened, not heavy chains. Calithians preferred restraint fields, bands of pale blue light wrapped around my wrists, humming softly with enough energy to drop a battle mech. I had already tried pulling against them. Didn't work. I am Commander Elias Ward, Terran Fleet. Or I was. At that moment, I was simply the human prisoner. Captured during the siege of Valeris station after Earth's coalition fleet miscalculated a hyperspace exit point and landed in contested Imperial territory. We had expected patrol ships. We found an armada. The Calithians did not destroy us. They dismantled us. Precise, elegant, ruthless. And now I stood in their capital, beneath a ceiling made of living crystal that pulsed faintly with violet light, waiting for judgment. The throne chamber was enormous, tiered balconies filled with nobles, military strategists, gene lords, and priest-seers. Their elongated forms shimmered in iridescent armor and ceremonial robes. Calithians were taller than humans, their skin smooth and pale, with faint star-like patterns beneath the surface. At the center of it all stood Queen Aerith. She did not sit on her throne. She stood before it, which meant something. Her crown was not gold or jewel-encrusted. It was a thin halo of crystalline energy, hovering just above her silver hair. Her eyes glowed faintly, not with emotion, but with awareness. Calithian monarchs were rumored to possess limited psionic perception, meaning she could likely feel my fear. I tried not to think about that. The high strategist stepped forward. The human commander violated Imperial borders, he announced, voice echoing through harmonic amplifiers. His fleet engaged Imperial defense platforms. Casualties were sustained. Murmurs rippled across the chamber. The penalty is termination. Straightforward. Efficient. Final. I lifted my chin. Anyway, if I was going to die in an alien empire, I would do it standing. The queen raised one slender hand. Silence fell instantly. Not gradual. Not hesitant. Absolute. The high strategist bowed and stepped back. Queen Aerith descended the steps slowly. Each movement was measured, fluid. She stopped 3 paces in front of me. Up close, she was even more striking. Not in a fragile way. In the way a supernova is striking, beautiful, and catastrophic at once. "You are Commander Elias Ward," she said. Her voice was softer than I expected. Almost melodic. "Yes. You ordered your ships to shield civilian transports before retreating." It wasn't a question. "Yes." "You remained behind to ensure their escape." "Yes." A faint flicker passed across her expression. "Why?" I hesitated. Honesty wouldn't save me, but it might matter. "Because they were civilians," I said. "Because it was my job. Because that's what we do." Murmurs again. Calithians did not prioritize civilian evacuations in the same way humans did. Their empire valued hierarchy and survival of strategic assets above individual lives. The queen studied me in silence. And then something changed. Her glow shifted, barely perceptible. A soft luminescence along her collarbone intensified. If I hadn't been watching her closely, I would have missed it. She turned to the court. "This human," she said, "stood against annihilation to protect the defenseless." The high strategist stiffened. "Your Majesty, compassion does not erase trespass." "No," she agreed calmly. "It does not." She looked back at me. "And yet it reveals something." The chamber grew tense. "Release him," she ordered. Every noble in the chamber froze. The restraint fields around my wrists flickered, but did not deactivate. The strategist stepped forward sharply. "Your Majesty?" She did not look at him. "I did not say pardon," she clarified. She stepped closer to me, close enough that I could see faint constellations beneath her skin. I said, "Release him." The bands around my wrists dissolved. Gasps echoed through the balconies. I rubbed my wrists slowly, unsure if this was some elaborate prelude to execution. The queen turned fully to face the empire. "For 12,000 cycles," she declared, "we have ruled through strength alone, through calculation, through superiority." No one dared interrupt. But strength without perspective becomes stagnation. The temperature in the chamber seemed to drop. The high strategist's voice sharpened. "Your Majesty, the human species is unstable, emotionally volatile, militarily unpredictable." "Precisely," she said. Silence. The queen extended her hand. Not to the court. To me. The gesture stunned me more than the release. "Commander Elias Ward," she said, her voice carrying through the chamber, "I offer you not death but bond." The word echoed. Bond. Among Calithians, a royal bond was not mere marriage. It was political fusion, shared authority, genetic alliance, strategic unification. The court erupted. "This is heresy. Unthinkable. A human." The queen raised her hand again. Silence crashed down like a physical force. She turned back to me. "I have observed your species," she said quietly. "You are reckless, divided, inconsistent, accurate." I muttered before I could stop myself. A faint flicker of amusement touched her eyes. "But you are also adaptable," she continued. "Compassionate in ways we have lost. You fight for individuals, not merely outcomes." Her gaze held mine. "The Empire requires evolution." My heart pounded. "You're choosing me," I said slowly, "as some kind of symbol?" Her expression softened slightly. "No." She stepped closer. "I am choosing you because when faced with extinction, you protected those who could not protect themselves. That is a trait I will not allow this empire to forget." The high strategist stepped forward, fury barely contained. "Your Majesty, the bloodline, will adapt," she said firmly. The court was utterly silent now. Every noble understood the magnitude of what she was doing. By choosing a human, she was rewriting 12,000 years of genetic and political purity. She was risking rebellion, civil war, assassination. She still did not waver. I swallowed hard. "You realize," I said quietly, "my people might see this as manipulation." "I do not seek to conquer Earth through you," she replied. "I seek to prevent a future war that would destroy us both." She extended her hand again. "Stand beside me, Elias Ward. Not as prisoner, not as symbol, as equal." The chamber felt like it was collapsing inward. I thought about Earth, about the fleet that had barely escaped, about the cost of war with an empire this vast. And I thought about the look in her eyes when she spoke of evolution, not dominance. "On one condition," I said. The court gasped. The high strategist looked ready to faint. The queen tilted her head slightly. "You negotiate?" "If I'm standing beside you," I said steadily, "my voice matters. Not as decoration. Not as propaganda. If I disagree with you, I speak." A long pause. Then, a slow, deliberate nod. "Agreed." She turned to the court. "Silence fell across the empire when I chose a human," she said evenly. "Let it be known that this choice is not weakness." Her voice rose, resonant and powerful. "It is expansion." The throne chamber trembled, not physically, but politically. In that moment, every faction recalculated. The military saw potential alliance. The Gene Lords saw unprecedented evolution. The traditionalists saw a threat. And somewhere beyond the palace walls, whispers of rebellion began. But none dared challenge her openly. Not yet. She stepped up beside the throne and gestured for me to join her. The distance between prisoner and partner was only a few steps. It felt like crossing a star. When I reached her side, the living crystal ceiling shifted color from imperial violet to a radiant, unfamiliar gold. Later, historians would argue about that day. Some would claim it marked the beginning of the Empire's golden era. Others would call it the moment decline began. They would debate strategy, genetics, diplomacy. They would analyze fleet movements and policy reforms. But none of them stood where I stood. Beside a queen who chose risk over tradition. Beside a ruler who saw strength not in purity, but in partnership. In the cycles that followed, change did not come easily. There were assassination attempts, political fractures, border skirmishes sparked by those who believed the Empire had grown soft. But something else happened too. Joint human-Calithian research initiatives revolutionized propulsion systems. Mixed diplomatic councils prevented 3 potential wars. And when the Dravari Collective tested Imperial resolve at the edge of known space, it was a unified fleet that answered, commanded by 2 figures standing side by side. Not ruler and consort, not conqueror and captive, but equals. Years later, when asked why she chose me, Queen Aerith gave a simple answer. Because empires fall when they stop learning. And when I was asked why I accepted, I told them the truth. Because sometimes the bravest thing a soldier can do is not fight, but build something new beside someone the galaxy expected him to fear. And on the day silence fell across the Empire, it was not the sound of shock. It was the sound of history changing direction.